Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm going to share with you guys my experience after 6 months of the Peterson Academy. So I signed up for the Peterson Academy in about August of 2024. August 21st was the first day of classes for those who pre-enrolled. At that time, there was about 5,500 students signed up for the Academy. And today, just after 6 months, there's already 40,000 students signed up and active on the Peterson Academy. So that's awesome to hear. Today, I'm going to share with you guys 3 pros and 3 cons that I've noticed while studying at the Peterson Academy. I'm going to share with you guys my top 5 favorite courses. I'll share with you guys my top 5 favorite professors as well. I'll answer some of the most commonly asked questions about the Academy. Will there be degrees? Is there accreditation? Is there study guides? Is there exams? Are there quizzes? I'm going to answer all of those questions today to hopefully give you guys enough information to make the decision for yourselves if you guys want to sign up for this tremendous academy. Needless to say, I think you should sign up. I think it's been absolutely awesome. And then at the very end of the video, I'll share with you guys just some of my personal experiences and how it's shaped me as a person in the last 6 months. So if you guys enjoy this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends to help boost this channel and the algorithm. With that all out of the way, let's get into it. So let's kick it off with the pros and cons that I've noticed while studying at the Peterson Academy. I'll start with the 3 cons first. So the biggest question that I get asked across all of my Peterson Academy videos is there a degree? Will I be getting an accredited degree at the end of my studies? Now, while the Peterson Academy provides a rigorous and intellectually enriching curriculum, there unfortunately is no degree at the end of it currently. So I'll just be completely flat out and honest with you guys. I don't want to manipulate or deceive you in any ways. There are no degrees being handed out currently. Now, we have been promised that in a year and a half, there will be certifications to kind of show that you've completed your program or curriculum, I guess, at the Peterson Academy. So that's not the same as an accredited degree. However, we have gotten a statement, which I'll throw up on screen right now. So this statement was put out by Michaela Peterson a couple weeks ago now, and from reading it, it seems like the Peterson Academy is in talks with a couple institutions, and they're getting close to getting accreditation for their academy, which would legitimize it as a real replacement for university or college studies. So yeah, I know a lot of people out there, they want that piece of paper, they want that degree. Most people who are attending colleges or universities today are there to get a degree that will get them a higher paying job. It's tough out there. The economy's not great. I'm sure you're all feeling it. I'm feeling it. It would be nice to get a piece of paper at the end that can get you a higher paying job. However, if the Peterson Academy cannot provide accredited degrees, which, like I said before, I'm very optimistic that it's going to happen. It's looking likely it's going to happen. I'm still positive on that front. But if that does not happen, if accredited degrees do not come, Jordan Peterson has promised his students to go directly to employers and to get them hired that way. Now, what will that look like? I'm not too certain. He said in previous podcasts that a potential solution would be hiring to his companies directly. He has quite a few companies on the go, whether it's his personality tests or the Peterson Academy itself. And there are plenty of professors on the Peterson Academy who have their own companies and their own ventures that they might be looking to hire students for. So that could be an option. If you're looking specifically for an accredited degree, I can't make any promises. I don't work for the Academy, and the Academy itself can't promise that currently. So just know that. So that's the first con. We'll move on to the next one. So the next con that I've noticed, and the next 2 cons are pretty bloody obvious because it's an online university, but the next con is there's no interactions with students or professors, which really sucks. I don't get to talk to any of the other students on the Peterson Academy face to face. There's no like Zoom chats, right? There's no physical institution that I can go to and meet people in person. So that lacks, and that kind of sucks. However, there are a couple options that the Peterson Academy has put out to kind of alleviate that, to kind of replace that in a way. Now, you can't replace in-person interactions. You just can't. You can communicate a lot better in person or even over Zoom than you can over text. However, we do have the social media platform, which is called the Quad, on the Peterson Academy. So it's kind of like Instagram. You can just post to it. Other people can see your post, like it, share it, all that kind of stuff. And then you have direct messaging too, which came out recently. So you can actually hit up different students. And if any of you guys sign up, I'll throw my username up on screen right now. You guys can send me a direct message, follow me, all that stuff. But that's one way that you can interact with other students. You can directly message them. You can post to the quad, or you can comment on the lectures themselves. You can kind of put timestamps where your comment is, and then other people can watch that part of the lecture and go, hey, I actually have an answer to your question here. And then they can provide that for you. And that'll all pop up in your notifications if anybody directly mentions you. So that's nice. Not many universities have a social media platform, and I haven't seen any university anywhere that has a social media platform that works as well as the one on the Peterson Academy does. So that's a pretty awesome perk. I really enjoy that, but obviously it can't replace interacting with fellow students. And then there's the lack of interaction with professors. Now, the professors that you get on the Peterson Academy are very high quality. So you have to take the pros with the cons here, and I'll talk about the quality of the professors in a second, but the fact that you can't contact them does suck a little bit, right? I can't ask any of the professors any questions as to anything they taught. So there's some holes left there. I'm like, oh, what did he mean by that? I wish I could clarify that point, or I wish I could ask him more about this subject, or ask him for recommended books on this specific thing that he talked about. So you can't ask those kind of questions currently. However, they plan to roll out a feature where a professor might get on a live Zoom chat and directly interact with students in the future. So that's been teased to us. It hasn't come yet, but I would love to have some sort of interaction with the professors. Or they also mentioned potentially doing conferences, kind of going around the world, bringing different groups of professors from the Peterson Academy, depending on people's schedules and stuff, right? Going around the world, doing conferences where Peterson Academy students can meet up together and meet with these teachers one-on-one, or I guess not one-on-one, because I'm sure there'd be plenty of people going, but you get what I mean. You can kind of go and meet these professors in person. So hopefully some stuff like that gets rolled out soon. It does suck not having any face-to-face interactions with anybody on the academy. However, the social media platform, the direct messaging, and just commenting on the lectures and the way it's all organized, I think does provide a pretty beautiful feature that doesn't fully make up for it, but it does a decent job at that. So I really like the social media platform that's on the academy. And yeah, that would be my second con. Let's move on to the third. So the last con that I'll mention today, again, is very obvious, being that the Peterson Academy is a completely online university, and that's the lack of campus resources. There's no extensive libraries. You can't take out books. There are recommended books for each of the courses, but you have to go out and find them at your local library, which a lot of them aren't at your local. I have a pretty big local library, and I can't find most of the books there. Or you have to go on Amazon, buy them yourself. Maybe you can find them on Internet Archive or some other websites, but if you want access to the books that are being recommended to you, you have to go out and buy them for yourself. So that sucks a little bit. There's no libraries, there's no archives, there's no laboratories, right? There's no hands-on experience where you can do different experiments in the classroom. There's been a couple courses where they've done experiments, but obviously it's one-dimensional, right? Because you can't interact with anything. You're just watching the professor do the experiment for you instead of doing it yourself, which oftentimes people learn better when they do it themselves, right? So the lack of laboratories, the lack of extracurricular activities, right? There's no sports teams or anything like that. There's no career counseling. There's just a ton of resources that you would get from a traditional brick and mortar university that's not available at the Peterson Academy. So that's one thing that you do want to note in going into this. You don't want to go in completely blind thinking that you're going to completely replicate a brick and mortar university experience through an online university. It's just never going to happen. You need physical locations. So my hope is that in the future, some physical locations start popping up. Maybe one or two in the US, maybe one in Canada. Maybe we start putting up like one or two around the world, and then maybe they can start flourishing and popping up everywhere. I don't know. I don't know how big they want to scale this up. I don't know if they even want to do physical locations, but that is one thing that will be lacking if you choose to take the Peterson Academy route. So those are the cons. Let's go over some of the more positive things. Let's go over the pros. So the pros are pretty easy to point out. The biggest one is the cost. I think that's what's going to draw the most people to the Academy. university prices right now are just, they keep going up, and they're not, the degrees and the education itself is just not worth the price for most things, in my opinion. Now, some people might disagree with that, but I think when you're paying, six figures for a degree and, it's going to take you like 10, 15 years to pay off those student loans, I just don't find that to be worth it, especially when the quality of the education is so botched. Now, that depends on which university you're going to, right? I live in Canada. It's pretty liberal here in Canada. So a lot of the issues that Jordan Peterson has brought up and a lot of the issues that inspired him to start this academy in the first place are very prevalent in the universities in my country and the university that I went at and eventually dropped out of. So for me, the universities that exist right now, the traditional brick and mortar universities, especially in my country, are beyond repair, and they're not worth the price even remotely, even for the degree for a higher paying job. And I also don't want to be indoctrinated. So I like the Peterson Academy because it feels unbiased. Now, there are a couple courses here and there, maybe the Jordan Peterson course, maybe the more religious courses that are a little bit more, conservative leaning, but I never feel like the facts are being gerrymandered or things are being hidden from me. It feels like an honest education. It feels like things are being presented to me in a truthful way. And that's just how I feel. That's how I read it. Some other people might disagree. They might get on there and feel like Jordan Peterson's manipulating the words of Nietzsche and whatever it might be. You might have your qualms with some of the professors. That's okay. For me, I'm enjoying my education. I think it's being presented to me in a very truthful way, and thus I am willing to pay more than what the price is for tuition currently. So currently it's about $5.99 a year. They scaled that up from $4.99, so a 20% increase in price. The reason for that is because initially they were planning to put out 3 courses every month. Then they changed it and they went, okay, we have so many people that want to teach courses on this academy. We're going to scale it up. We're going to do 1 course a week. So more courses, paying a little bit more, it makes sense to me. Honestly, I would probably pay $2,000 a year at least to attend this academy. I'd pay more if I was making more, but times are tough right now. I'm feeling it just like everybody else is. But I think the price is very, very reasonable. In fact, I think they lowballed themselves quite a bit. So I think that's also why you saw a 20% increase in price there. But the price is going to be something that's going to draw a lot of people in. Now, there aren't any government student loans that you can get or anything like that, but there is a military discount that the Peterson Academy itself offers for veterans, and there is an affirm pay option. So if you want to break down the payment into 12 monthly installments, you can do it that way. However, it's not a subscription. You're not signing up and you can't cancel anytime. You can't just take 4 months and do all the courses in those 4 months, pay the $55 a month, and then just stop there. You have to pay the full year. So just know that if you're going in and you sign up for the affirm pay, it's $55 a month, but you're committed to the 12 months to pay out that full year's tuition. So yeah, I think the price is completely reasonable. Like I said, I think it's really lowballing what it's actually worth. So the price is one of the biggest pros for sure. So the next pro that I want to mention is maybe the Peterson Academy's greatest strength, and that's the quality of the professors. To have this kind of cast, man, to learn from the likes of Jordan Peterson, Keith Campbell, John Vervaeke, to James Orr, Andrew Roberts, Robert Toombs, you're getting all of these top quality professors from the best universities on the planet, whether it be Cambridge, Oxford, Stanford, Harvard. You're getting professors from all of the top universities in one place. That's incredibly rare. And like I said, they're all at the top of their game. They're providing the best courses they've ever made in their lives with technologies that they haven't had access to before. The beauty of the lectures, which I'll talk about in a second here, it's amazing to learn from all of these professors. I'm going to talk about my 5 favorite professors in a second here, but it was hard to narrow the list down because they've all been amazing. And you have writers and you have composers, but then you also have traditional academic professors. So there's a nice myriad there. There's a unique cast, and it's been absolutely fantastic. To have this quality of professorship it just blows me away that I'm only paying $5.99 for this. I went to university for a year here in Canada, And every time I showed up, I was so let down by the professorship. I just felt like they were kind of glorified high school teachers. A lot of my high school teachers taught me more and seemed smarter than a lot of my university professors did. Now, that being said, I did go to one of the top high schools in the country, but at university, I was so let down. And there'd be classes where I'd show up and the teachers like not really dressed very professionally. They're, not wearing sweatpants, but, jeans and stuff like that. And it just, I don't know, it kind of let me down. And, there'd be days where professor's kind of lazy. He's like, just take a study class, or today we're just going to watch a movie. And I'm like, why am I paying to be here? Like, I'm paying so much money to be here, and I'm learning more from my bus ride to university, where I was watching, mainly Jordan Peterson lectures, but lectures from YouTube, just free lectures. There's lectures from Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, all those universities that I mentioned before. A lot of their lectures are free on YouTube. So I was learning more from my bus rides than I was at the actual university. So I was always let down by that. And then attending the Peterson Academy, I had pretty high expectations. I kind of thought, Jordan Peterson's probably going to be like head and shoulders above the other professors because he's so good and I like him so much as a professor. But really, I was blown away. I was shocked to take, classes from John Vervaeke, classes from Jonathan Pageau, or even, Bishop Robert Barron, who I'm traditionally not the biggest fan of. I loved his course. I thought it was fantastically done. I thought every single professor on the academy did an amazing job, and they all did better than I even expected. So Jordan Peterson is by no means head and shoulders above the rest of the professors. They are all head and shoulders above, I think, everybody else. At least the university that I went to, the professors that I'm taking here on the Peterson Academy are way better than the professors that I had at university, my traditional brick and mortar university that I dropped out of. So that's one thing that I'll say for sure. The quality of the professors is just mind-blowing for sure. And the third pro that I'll talk about today, which is my favorite, it's the thing that blew me away the most when I started taking lectures on the academy, is the quality, or the beauty, I should say, of the lectures themselves. They are absolutely stunning. The Peterson Academy and their team have gone above and beyond to bring us the most beautiful and aesthetically pleasing lectures I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen lectures that come even close to the quality of the Peterson Academy lectures, from the concise condensedness of the lectures themselves. They advertise on the Peterson Academy website 32 hours condensed into 8. It does feel like that. It feels like you get a semester's worth of information condensed down into 8 hours. Like I said, there's no wasted time. There's no watching films in class or taking a study class, or there's no slow pace. The teacher isn't showing up, dragging his feet, a little bit tired from the night before. This is his 5th day in a row teaching classes or something like that. Like, everybody's sharp and on point, and the information's condensed, and partly because of the quality of the professors, that helps too, to condense the information down. But just to get it all neatly packed in a way that just doesn't feel like you're wasting any of your time. It's amazing. Like, from the start of the lecture to the end of it, it's engaging all the way through. And sometimes at the end, they do take questions from students. At first, I'm like, I'll probably just skip those parts. I don't know if I'll find the questions of the students that interesting. Surprisingly, the questions asked by the students have been superb, absolutely amazing. Some of them have been questions that I've been thinking about, and I'm like, there's no way the students are going to ask that. But then they do, and I get the answer to the question from the professor. So, and the beauty of them, like the white background. This might seem like an arbitrary fact, but it feels like you're watching a whiteboard and the professor's kind of like on it, and then he's walking around, and then things are popping up behind him, and then they get erased and they come back up, and it's almost like you're watching a whiteboard. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but it's very clean and it's very professional. And the professors, they show up clean and professional. They all wear nice suits, or they dress, at least somewhat professionally, so that they look clean. And like I said, they all show up on point. They all show up alert, ready to go, and ready to present the best lecture that they ever have in their lives. And I'm just blown away by the quality, like the smoke that pops up in the background, and then it morphs into the quotes, or it morphs into the images of the people that you're learning about. It's so cool, and it's so engaging. And I find oftentimes when I watch, Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard lectures that are free on YouTube, some of them, like, the professors are fantastic. I wish I had those professors. Like, really, really high quality professors, and the information's great too. Better than the university that I was going to. I'd rather watch, lectures online from Harvard, but just the way they're done, the camera's placed in the back of the classroom, the teacher's not dressed amazing, sometimes they're dressed a little and that the classroom's sometimes dirty or cluttered or messy, and the camera doesn't always pan right, sometimes it's not zoomed in enough, sometimes there's students' heads in the way, it's not professional, it's not clean and polished. But at the Peterson Academy, it is. They put so much effort into providing the most beautiful and stunning lectures that I've ever seen in my life, and I greatly appreciate that because it makes it so engaging. There's been multiple courses that I've binged just in one day, like watched 8 hours of lectures just in a row, and I would never be able to do that with a traditional brick and mortar university or even watching Oxford lectures online. There's something about the Peterson Academy. They make it binge worthy. So yeah, that would be the third con, or the third pro, I mean. So those are 3 pros and 3 cons that I've noticed about the Academy. If you guys want to see me go more into detail about the pros and cons of the Peterson Academy, I have made 2 videos that kind of go over that. So I'll throw them up on screen right now if you guys want to go check those out. But I'll wrap that up there for today. Let's move on to some of my favorite courses and some of my favorite professors. So let's talk about my top 5 favorite professors on the Academy. It was very difficult to narrow it down to just 5. Really, I enjoyed my time with basically everybody on the Academy. There's only one course that I didn't love, which I'll talk about at the end, but it was hard to narrow it down just to 5 professors. So quantity did play a factor here. I kind of picked the professors that I spent the most time with, but to get the most obvious one out of the way, obviously, Dr. Jordan Peterson is one of my favorite professors on the Academy. He's a big reason why I signed up for it, obviously with his name on the Academy itself and providing an alternative to the traditional universities, which I dropped out of largely because of Jordan Peterson. So needless to say, he's one of my favorite professors on the Academy. He has 3 courses on the Academy right now, which is the most out of any professor. He has his personality course, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a remake of the personality courses that he taught at McGill and the University of Toronto. Either one of the 2, I can't remember where these ones took place, but they're all online for free on YouTube. He has his 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017 versions of the personality lectures, and I absolutely loved those. I've watched every single version of them. They're absolutely terrific. I've learned so much from those, and it's been quite a while since he taught that course. So I think he did a much better job at the version that's on the Peterson Academy, and it's kind of, like I said, it's condensed, it's compact, it's 20 or 22 lectures squeezed into 8. And I think it's the best version of the course he's ever taught. The Nietzsche course also was terrific. That was the first course that he released on the Academy. And some people nitpick Jordan Peterson and they don't think that he's a great interpreter of Nietzsche. I disagree. I've read many interpretations of Nietzsche's work. I've watched, I don't even know how many lectures on Nietzsche, all the ones that I could find for free on the internet. And I find his perspective very valuable. Now, I don't take everything that he says as absolute certain fact, but there's a lot of powerful and useful insights into Nietzsche's philosophy that Jordan Peterson has, especially in his Nietzsche course here, that I find useful myself. So that's just me. Some other people might not like the way that Jordan Peterson talks about Nietzsche. They might find it problematic or that he's twisting his words, but I don't find that to be the case. I thought the Nietzsche course was absolutely fantastic. And then we had the Sermon on the Mount course, which was probably my favorite out of the 3. It's the one that got the most emotional. He teared up a couple times throughout those lectures, and so did I, if I'm being honest. They were deeply moving, very impactful, and some of the most emotionally moving lectures I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that he was able to pull that off just shows the quality of his professorship, of his teaching, I guess. And I've rarely had that experience in my life where a professor has moved me to tears in that way. So fantastic course. Absolutely loved all 3. I can't wait for more from Dr. Jordan Peterson. My second favorite professor is a professor that I didn't really know about until the Peterson Academy, but immediately, as soon as I started taking his courses, I was whisked away by his superb oratory ability, and that's, of course, Dr. James Orr. He's probably the most talented speaker on the entire roster of the Peterson Academy professors. He's silky smooth with his words, absolutely buttery, and it's just a pleasure to listen to him talk about philosophers. So he has the ancient philosophy course, and he has his course on Plato, the Dawn of Thought. Both of them terrific. I need more courses from James Orr. Like I said, it's just, I love listening to him talk. So the next one that I'll mention is Dr. John Vervaeke. He only has one course on the Academy so far. Actually, that's a lie. He just put out a new one a couple weeks ago, The Primacy of Beauty, which I'm going to be taking next. That's the next course that I'll take and review on this channel. But he has two courses now. The first one, the only one that I've taken, was Rationality, Wisdom, Beauty, and something else. I'll put it up on screen right now. But it was a terrific course. The reason why I have him on my list is because I've taken his, what was it, Search for Meaning, The Meaning Crisis, something like that. I'll put it up on screen again, but he has a series of lectures on YouTube that are some of the best lectures I've ever come across on YouTube. So if you're looking for free lectures to watch, I highly recommend John Vervaeke's course. Some of the most mind-blowing psychology, neuroscience courses I've ever taken. They were terrific and really helped change my life, especially the Meaning Crisis course that he has on YouTube. But his course on the Peterson Academy, it was the most difficult and challenging course on the entire Academy. And that was awesome. All of the other courses, like, they weren't a breeze for me or anything like that. I don't want to be that cocky. You know, they were challenging at points, but the John Vervaeke course, man, I had to dial in. I had to lock in for that one because it was very difficult. There was a lot being thrown at you. He uses words that I don't hear any other professor use, so he expands my vocabulary while I listen to him. And yeah, he's been terrific. I've gained a lot of insights from listening to John Vervaeke, and I can't wait for more courses by him. I'm sure I'm going to love the Primacy of Beauty course. And yeah, he's probably my third favorite professor. My fourth favorite professor is another professor that I kind of got introduced to through the Peterson Academy, and that is Dr. Keith Campbell. He is probably the most chilled, the most laid back, the most casual professor on the Academy, but it brings a nice change up. You know, you have the brilliant oratory ability of James Orr, who's silky smooth with the Oxford accent and all that, but to switch it over to Keith Campbell sometimes and just to have a guy who just feels like another dude who's just kind of just, you know, casually talking about psychology in a very deep way. Don't get me wrong. It's not that he lacks depth, but he you know, throws some jokes around here and there. He likes to keep things light, and I do appreciate that. He has a personality that's very warm and, I don't know, soothing in a way. I love listening to Keith Campbell talk. He has two courses. He has his Intro to Psychology, which is fantastic, probably the best introduction to psychology course I've ever taken, and I've taken quite a few. And he has his On Narcissism course, which is kind of his specialty. He's one of the world-leading experts on narcissism, and I learned more from that course on narcissism than I have any other book or scientific paper that I've ever looked up on narcissism. It was very informative and just absolutely terrific. So my fifth favorite professor, again, somebody who I was introduced to through the Peterson Academy, is Samuel Andreev, who taught two courses on the Peterson Academy, the History of Western Music and the Great Composers, both of which were absolutely terrific, especially the History of Western Music. I'll talk about that one a little bit more in a second here, but Samuel Andreev is just a pleasure. Like, to have an actual composer up there with a piano, and he's able to break down pieces of classical music, you know, play the right hand, play the left hand, play them both together, kind of dissect the music in that way. Having that is just terrific. Like, I don't know if I would have had the ability to take a music course this well done from this high quality of a professor at the traditional brick and mortar university that I was attending. So I absolutely love Samuel Andreev. Again, he's very chill, very laid back, and just very easy to listen to. So those would be my top 5 favorite professors on the Academy. Next up, I want to go over my top 5 courses, which was almost impossible to narrow down to just 5, but I picked 5 for today. I might do 1 or 2 honorable mentions, we'll see, but I'll talk about 5 for today. There's over 30 courses now, over 34, I think, on the Peterson Academy. They're all fantastic. There's only one that I didn't love, but it's still a fantastic course. Other people probably will still love it, but I'll talk about that at the very end. I'll put up on screen right now some visuals of kind of all of the courses so you guys can get a little better sense of what's on the Academy, the diversity of courses that's on there. It's quite a diverse range of courses. You have financial courses, nutrition courses, psychology courses, quite a few psychology courses, if I'm being honest, a few philosophy courses for sure. But I think over time, they'll add more and more to this Academy. It'll kind of fill out the diversity, or the range of courses will expand. So this is just what we have for now, and I think it's terrific. You know, we got a couple really good history courses there, all sorts of courses. And if you guys want to watch any of the trailers for any of these courses, and all of the trailers are like really engaging and they get you pumped up like a movie that you're really excited for. So if you guys want to watch any of the trailers, they're all available for you guys to watch on the Peterson Academy. You don't have to sign up for the Academy. You can watch any of the trailers before signing up. So I highly recommend doing that. If any of them pique your interest, right after this video, go watch one of the trailers, because they motivated me to sign up for the Academy. But my absolute favorite course is I mentioned it earlier, Sermon on the Mount course. Like I said, it's the course that has moved me the most. It's the course that made me shed the most tears. And it really transformed me. Like, it shifted the way I looked at the world. And it's just such a beautiful course. I think he did such a great job with it. Now, I think my favorite religious content that Jordan Peterson has done has been his Genesis lectures, which are free on YouTube. I think it's maybe the best thing he's ever done, besides maybe his Maps of Meaning book. I think those Genesis lectures are like a gift to mankind. I've never seen a more thorough analysis of the biblical stories than what Jordan Peterson has undertaken. Now, he's also done a roundtable analysis of Exodus and the Gospels with some terrific scholars. A lot of the professors that are on the Peterson Academy are at those roundtables. So absolutely fantastic to kind of have all your professors in one location talking about the deepest stories ever to be written. Those were fantastic to watch. I believe the Exodus seminars are on YouTube for free, but I think the gospel ones are still behind the paywall on the Daily Wire Plus website. So you have to sign up for Daily Wire Plus if you guys want to watch those. But I think he might have made the first one free. I think the first gospel lecture just got made free on YouTube. So highly recommend checking it out. I learned so much from those lectures. And like I said, the Genesis lectures as well, which is just him on stage, and from the Sermon on the Mount. I'm somebody who thinks that Jordan Peterson's at his best when he is talking about the religious, but some other people disagree. They think that he should stick to psychology. That's totally fair too. I think that's where he's his most comfortable, in his own zone there of psychology. But when he branches out into the religious, I think that's when he gets his deepest, personally. I'm somebody who doesn't always appreciate the political stuff. I think he should dial back from that a little bit, but it is what it is. I've already made a video of some problems with Jordan Peterson on my channel. Actually, I think I put that one as members only now, so unfortunately not everybody can watch that anymore. But next, moving on. Greatest Leaders of History with Andrew Roberts. I've made it known before that Andrew Roberts is one of my favorite historians of all time. He's written so many fantastic books, biographies in particular on Churchill, Napoleon. That's probably my favorite Napoleon biography ever written. There's so many great ones out there, but I think Andrew Roberts did the best job at it. And to just have him sit down for 8 lectures, take each lecture and talk about a different figure that he's like hyper knowledgeable about, and to break down their character, their biography, what makes them great, what makes them terrific leaders. It was just such an awesome course to take. It was a true pleasure to take a course from one of your favorite historians. I was like fanboying out a little bit during that course. So absolutely loved that one. It's done in a bit of an interview style, which I didn't like at first. At first I was like, oh man, I wish it was just Andrew Roberts talking. But over time I kind of warmed up to that format, and it is probably best for him because he's not a traditional academic professor. He's more of a historian and writer, right? So absolutely loved that course. The next one that I'll mention is probably the most well-organized course that I've taken on the Academy, and it was the Shakespearean Tragedies by Andrew Doyle. He came more prepared than any other professor I've seen so far. He hit every nail on the head, every point. He didn't miss anything, and every word seemed premeditated and chosen specifically. Like, it didn't feel like he was making things up on the go, or he was kind of just in the pocket. Sometimes how Jordan Peterson is, where he's kind of just letting things come to him. Andrew Doyle was prepared, man. Like, he knew exactly what he wanted to teach you. And it was terrific. It was such a great course. I really wasn't expecting it. I was expecting some of the more seasoned professors to provide a course like that, not a comedian and playwright like Andrew Doyle, but man, he killed it. Knocked it out of the park with that one. It also had some of the most beautiful visuals out of all the courses that I've taken, but yeah. And I'm somebody who's, I've read a decent amount of Shakespeare. I think I've read just about everything, not like all of his poems, but I've read all the tragedies. I've read a few commentaries. There's obviously hundreds out there. Shakespeare lived like 400 years ago, so there's a lot of commentaries out there. But I'm somebody who's dove into that a little bit, and I still found new things to learn from this course. So I always love that. I love when I go into a course and I kind of already know quite a bit about it, and there's still new things that are brought to light. That's just so exciting. So yeah, Andrew Doyle absolutely killed it with that one. The next one that I'll talk about is the history of Western music, which I alluded to earlier. Like The Great Composers was awesome. He took kind of one lecture per composer and kind of dissected their lives, went over some biographical details, talked about what made them great specifically as individuals. But I thought that the history of Western music course was just superb. Like, I'm somebody who loves music. I listen to all sorts of music. I collect vinyl. I listen to a lot of classical music, but I wasn't really in tune with the vernacular of classical music. I didn't really understand the difference from rhythm to melody. Like, it was kind of all the same to me. So taking that course and having that all explained to me in great detail, to have him sit on the piano, take a piece of Bach, play the right hand, play the left hand, play them together, isolate pieces of the music, it gave me a much more profound connection to the music and a deeper understanding of the genius that exists within classical music. I mean, classical music's difficult, right? Like, you listen to a piece of Bach and Jordan Peterson has said this before, but you like clash against it. It's difficult, it's dense, it's complicated. And it takes a while for it to click, but then once it clicks, like, classical music just blows everything else out of the water. Like, once you get classical music, you almost don't want to listen to any modern music because it's just so much more intricate and complicated, and there's a lot more beauty to it, I find. But again, there's a lot of modern music that I love. The majority of my vinyl collection is hip-hop music, so I can't say that in complete honesty, but I do have a much, much deeper appreciation for classical music now, and that's thanks to Samuel Andreev's amazing course. And the last course that I'll talk about today is Symbolism and Christianity with Jonathan Pageau. So Jonathan Pageau is somebody who I knew about before taking any courses at the Peterson Academy. His channel, The Symbolic Life, I hope I'm getting that right, but I'll throw it up on screen just in case. That channel has been huge for me for understanding the symbolism in Christianity, understanding it on a deeper level. Sometimes he's able to go even further than Jordan Peterson, and I think that's why he seated him right at his right hand when he did those Exodus and gospel seminars, because he leans on him a lot. I mean, Jonathan Pageau has a mind and an eye for symbolism, especially in Christianity, that's unlike any other I've ever come across. And he truly has some brilliant insights. And being a pretty laid back French Canadian, like, the course here on the Peterson Academy and his videos on his YouTube channel, they're very laid back. Like, he has a very soft and humble approach to the topic, which can be very refreshing if you're used to Jordan Peterson being so, fire and brimstone sometimes. Sometimes Jordan Peterson can be a little bit intense, and I find that Jonathan Pageau kind of scales that back a little bit. He has a softer approach. And yeah, I just absolutely loved the Symbolism and Christianity course. It taught me a lot about my faith. So terrific course. I loved all 5 of those. If I had to give an honorable mention, I'd probably throw it to Intro to Cosmology. I thought Dr. Brian Keating did a fantastic job. He would have been in my top 5 favorite professors if he had 2 courses on the Academy. I like him that much. He's such a fantastic professor. You can just, the passion and excitement for physics and cosmology just exudes from him. Like, it's palpable, like, just how much he loves science. And when that rubs off on you, it makes you excited to learn about science and passionate to go out there and learn more. So I absolutely loved that course. That was the course that I was referencing to before when I was talking about there was some experiments done in the classroom. There's quite a few done in that course, and they were very interesting. So it sucks that I can't be in the same room and interact with them that way, but they were still fantastic to watch on my big screen. So I absolutely loved that course by Dr. Brian Keating. I hope they bring him back for many, many more courses because he's a fantastic educator, especially for physics. Oh, and I forgot to mention, my least favorite course, the one that I didn't love, was the Art of Storytelling with Greg Hurwitz. Now, it's not because this course is bad by any means, but I myself have read Greg Hurwitz's writing, and he used to write for Batman, and I'm a huge Batman fan. I have a huge comic book collection right behind me, behind this black curtain, and I have a deep connection with that character and that story, and I didn't really like his run on Batman. And I've read his novels a little bit, not all of them, but I've read parts of them, and I'm not the biggest fan. I think he's a good writer, don't get me wrong. He's definitely a good writer. He's just not great, in my opinion, and I tend to only read great fiction. I tend to pass away even the really good stuff. So some people might really like his writing. I'm not knocking his writing. I'm just saying it's not for me. So when I took this course, The Art of Storytelling, I was kind of expecting him to go over the greatest works of fiction. That's what I would expect from that kind of course. Now, he only went over his own works, which was a little bit limited, and I don't really like the way he writes. Like, there's things that just throw me off. I'm like, that's weird. That's not really that creative. That feels forced. Stuff like that. So I'm not the biggest fan of his writing. As a person, he's fantastic. Like, I really liked him when he did the Exodus and the Gospel seminars. I thought he provided a really interesting perspective as a story writer, and I thought he did a fantastic job in those. However, I just found the course on the Peterson Academy to fall a little bit flat for me, only because he was only really talking about his own writing. And like I said, I don't find it that engaging. So that was the only course that I didn't love. The next thing I wanted to mention before I get into some of my personal experiences with the Academy is the quizzes and exams. So this has been something that I've been asked about a lot. Currently, we have quizzes. They were rolled out with the launch of the Academy. Each course has between 6 and 8 lectures. Now, I think some of them have had 5. I think maybe one course has had 9 lectures, but that's about the range of lectures that are in a course. Each lecture has a quiz. When the Academy was originally launched, each quiz had 10 questions, and those quizzes still have 10 questions. However, in the last 4 or 5 months, every course that has come out, each lecture quiz has had 5 questions. So they've reduced the amount of questions for the quizzes in half. So that's another thing to note. I will also note that when you take a quiz, you can't retake it. It's done. So just make sure that if you're taking a course and there's no final exam yet for that course, because they're rolling them out slowly right now, make sure you wait off on the quizzes so you can use those to study, because you can take them, but you can't retake them. You can go back and you can see what you marked right, and if you got it wrong, you can see what the correct answer was, but that's it. So there's no retaking quizzes at the moment. So that's another thing to note. And then, like I said, final exams are being rolled out right now. We have 4 final exams at the moment. I'll put them up on screen, and we should be seeing more and more in the coming months. Now, I believe we were also released a statement, which I'll also throw up on screen, that there will be final exams for the curriculum coming out in about a year and a half, and those will be kind of the essays that make up the majority of your grade. So that's all the information that I have right now for the quizzes and the exams and kind of the final exams there at the end of the curriculum. As I get more information on that, I will provide you guys with an update video, but that's all that I have for right now. So you guys do have the quizzes. Those were out from the launch for every single lecture on the Academy, and some of the courses have final exams, not all of them, but those are being rolled out, like I said, as we speak. So hopefully that clears up some of the questions people have been having about the quizzes and final exams. So before we wrap up today, I want to share with you guys some of my personal experiences with the Academy and how it's shaped and affected me over the last 6 months. So signing up for the Academy, I was incredibly excited. Going into that, I had a lot of anxiety from the previous couple years. I dropped out of university at about 19 years old after staying in university for about a year. I started noticing that, the amount that I was paying for my student loans, the amount that I was taking out, was a lot compared to the quality of education that I was getting. And a lot of the things Jordan Peterson was saying about traditional universities and how they're collapsing into this wokeism and ideology, I was seeing that in my classes. I was seeing that from fellow students. I was seeing it from professors. It was scaring me. I wasn't learning much. Like I said before, I was learning way more from my bus rides to the university. And I dropped out for so many reasons. And it still irked me for many, many years because, my mom was kind of behind the decision, kind of not. She's like, you do what's best for you. Like, I trust you, but I'd rather you go and get a degree. And I trying to explain to her, like, I don't think this is the place to get it. I might have to hold off for a bit. So drop out, right? Couple years of a lot of anxiety. Like, what am I doing with my life? Am I throwing my life away? Very anxious, very nervous. And then finally, the Peterson Academy gets launched after years of it being rumored. And I signed up for it, very eager. I was super excited to take courses. And I will say that over the last 6 months, that anxiety has dropped away basically completely. I feel like I have purpose in my life. I have direction, even though we don't have accredited degrees yet, even though I might not even want a job at the end of this. I might not even want employment. I kind of want to do YouTube full time. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so I can make that my reality. But that's kind of what I want to do. I don't even need a degree or a job at the end of this. I love the fact that I'm learning and that I'm progressing and I'm moving forward intellectually. So in the last 6 months, I've read more books than I have in any other any other 6 month period in my life. It's not even close, really. So I've been more intellectually engaged than ever. I feel like I'm sharper. I feel like my brain's just clicking better, like the gears are just everything's functioning a little bit better. I feel like I articulate myself better. I feel like I have more confidence too. If you guys go back to my 1 month of Peterson Academy video, which thank you guys for blowing that up to 66,000 views. That absolutely blew me away. That was huge in getting me to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. That was amazing. But if you guys go watch that video and you compare it to this video, I think you'll see a big change. And a lot of that I can attribute to the Peterson Academy. Now, some of it's also attributed to, I'm making videos on the Peterson Academy. So there's this unique cycle that I'm in, but so I don't know where it's all coming from, but obviously this YouTube channel blowing up, making more and more videos, having this creative outlet, all of that has benefited me in tremendous ways as well. So I kind of have to sparse in my mind what is effects of the Peterson Academy and what's effects of my YouTube channel having some success. So, but all in all, I just feel so much more engaged in learning. Like I feel like I have passion and a will to learn now, whereas before it felt like, I don't know, it felt sloggy. It felt like work, it didn't feel, I didn't have the same feeling when I was at my university before. It felt, I don't know, it didn't feel good. I wasn't motivated. And again, this could be personal things that were going on in my life too. So just take this with a grain of salt. Like, I was not in a great position in life when I dropped out of university. So there's other factors that could have been playing a part, but I'm just trying to share with you guys my own personal experience. But going to that university, I felt so dim, like the dread of of stepping on that bus and just knowing like I'm going to learn more from this bus ride. I'm going to have more engagement. I'm going to have more fun really like learning on this bus ride than I am when I get to that university and I sit down, I put my bags next to me, in a classroom full of 100 or 150 people where everything seems so impersonal and everybody kind of has their heads down and everybody seems to be there for somebody else. Like, I'm here because my boyfriend's at university, or I'm here because my friends got into this university, or I'm here because my parents want me to get a degree. It just felt like a lot of that. It didn't feel like anybody was there because they wanted to learn, because they wanted to stimulate themselves intellectually, because they wanted to grow. It didn't feel like that. It felt weird. It didn't feel like a healthy place to learn. And at the Peterson Academy, I feel like it's a healthy place to learn. I interact with students on the social media platform, and I'm like, wow, everybody's like really positive and inspired and going places. And I don't know, there's just a whole different air and vibe to studying at the Peterson Academy that I didn't have before. And I was expecting that before. Like, I wanted to go to a university and feel like Dead Poets Society. I wanted to feel that academia. I wanted to feel that, but it wasn't there. It just felt dead. And again, that was probably, you have to take into account that I'm Canadian. So I went to a university in Canada where things are a little shifted right now. But again, yeah, that's just how I feel. I feel amazing taking these lectures. Like I said, I've binged so many of them, at least 4 or 5 different courses I've binged in a day. I don't think I would have ever binged any of the courses that I was taking at my previous university. And yeah, it's just been awesome. So that's my personal account. I don't know what else to say other than that. If you guys have any questions, you guys can let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, I highly recommend it. If you're looking to sign up and this is what you want to do, you want to learn, you want an ideology-free environment, you want that wokeism kind of tossed to the side, you just want to learn from the top professors on the planet in a format with the most beautiful lectures I've ever seen in my life, aesthetically stunning. I think this is the place for you. So I hope today's video was informational and it helps you guys decide for yourselves. Again, I'm not paid by the Peterson Academy. I don't work for them, anything like that. I'm not endorsed by them. So I'm not trying to push this on anybody. I just wanted to share my experience today and hopefully help you guys make the decision for yourselves. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with all of your friends. Maybe this video will blow up as well and we can get to 5,000 subs. That would be awesome. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, it means the world to me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.